John Deere has just announced it's shifting part of its US production is heading to Mexico. Donald Trump called it a betrayal, and fired back with a threat that stunned markets. This is not just about tractors. It's about jobs, power, and who controls America's future. John Deere announced a $55 million investment in a new factory in Monterrey, Mexico. Production is expected to start in 2026. On paper, the company calls it a strategic expansion, but the timing made it explosive. The new plant will build mid-frame skid steer and compact track loaders, machines used by small and mid-size farms. These are not niche products. They are core tools for everyday American agriculture. So why move? Deere points to rising US labor costs, worker shortages, and supply chain delays. Mexico offers lower labor costs, a growing skilled workforce, and faster access to Latin American markets like Brazil, Argentina, and Colombia. And Deere is not alone. Other heavy equipment makers are adjusting their footprints to stay flexible as inflation drags on and post-pandemic disruptions linger. Deere says fewer than 5% of its North American operations will shift. Large harvesters will stay in Iowa and Illinois. The heart of the brand, they say, remains American. To Deere, it's survival in a global market. To others, it looked like turning its back on the people who built the brand. And then the politics hit. Donald Trump reacted fast. At a rally in Iowa, he turned Deere's decision into a national issue. His message was blunt. If John Deere builds machines outside the US, he warned, those products could face a 200% tariff when brought back. This was not a casual remark. It was a direct challenge. For Trump, this isn't just about costs. It's about loyalty. In his view, Deere's move sends the wrong signal at a time when American manufacturing is already fragile. His stance is simple: keep jobs at home, or pay the price. But the fallout would go far beyond corporate profits. Farmers are already squeezed by high interest rates and rising input costs. A tariff that large could push equipment prices sharply higher. Dealers, repair shops, and suppliers would feel it too. There's also the risk of retaliation. Mexico and other trade partners would not sit quietly. Trump's allies in Congress quickly lined up behind him. Some proposed limits on federal purchases of foreign-made farm equipment. Now rural America is split. Do tariffs protect workers, or punish farmers? Do they revive industry, or slow it down? And just as this political pressure builds, another problem is quietly tightening around Deere. Because the company's financial picture is already under strain. John Deere's move to Mexico did not happen in a vacuum. It came as the company's numbers started to slide. In its latest report, Deere revealed a 35% drop in revenue. That shocked Wall Street. Farmers are pulling back. Crop prices are lower. Interest rates are higher. Borrowing money is harder than it was just a year ago. Instead of buying new machines, many farmers are waiting. Some are renting. Others are turning to used equipment. Used tractor listings are surging. Large farm machines are sitting longer on the market. New orders are slowing down. Deere expects sales in its large agriculture and precision segments to fall by as much as 20%. Deere says it could earn up to $5.5 billion in net income in 2025. It's cutting costs. It's streamlining production. And it's betting that global demand will carry it through. After an initial dip, the stock recovered. There's another key shift happening quietly. More than half of Deere's agriculture and turf exports now go outside the US. Canada, Europe, Brazil, Australia. That global balance gives Deere flexibility, but it also makes the company less dependent on the US market. And that raises a deeper question. If Deere can survive without America at the center, what does that mean for American workers? Because the biggest change facing Deere isn't Mexico. It's automation. While tariffs dominate headlines, Deere is changing farming in a quieter way. Through machines. The company is pouring money into automation and AI. Not tomorrow. Right now. Autonomous tractors. Precision sprayers. Self-guided equipment that can run for hours without a driver. One of Deere's flagship machines can operate for 8 hours straight with no human inside. It uses GPS, sensors, and AI to move through fields with extreme accuracy. Drones scan crops from above. Software adjusts spray patterns in real time. Less waste. Higher yields. At the center of it all is Deere's digital platform, a system farmers can check from their phones. They can track equipment health, soil data, and field performance instantly. In remote regions, even connectivity is being built into the system. Here's the part few people want to say out loud. These machines don't care where they are built. Iowa or Mexico. It makes no difference. Performance matters. Efficiency matters. And as automation speeds up, the real disruption is not offshoring. It's fewer jobs. Economists warn that millions of manufacturing roles could disappear over the next decade as robotics advance. Deere isn't replacing American workers with Mexican workers. It's replacing workers with machines. Even if factories come home, the jobs may not. And how the public reacts to that reality may decide what happens next. John Deere has always been more than a company in rural America. It's a symbol. A name tied to family farms, long days, and hard work. That's why this move hits so deep. Across farm forums, radio shows, and town halls, the reaction is split. Some say Deere is doing what it must to survive. They argue the world has changed, and companies must change with it. Others see something else. They see a company walking away from the communities that built its success. One farmer put it simply, why Mexico and not Nebraska? That question keeps coming up. Political pressure is rising fast. Trump-aligned lawmakers are pushing bills to limit federal purchases of foreign-built farm equipment. Hearings are being discussed. Trade rules tied to domestic production are back on the table. Behind the scenes, Deere is pushing back. The company warns that tariffs would not just hit executives. They would raise prices for farmers at a time when food demand is climbing worldwide. So far, Deere is holding its ground. No apologies. No reversals. Just steady forward movement. This is no longer just a fight about factories. It's a fight over what rural America should look like in the future. And that brings us to the final issue, the one sitting beneath everything else. John Deere's decision to expand in Mexico did more than trigger tariff threats. It exposed a deeper conflict. On one side is tradition. The belief that American manufacturing should stay American, even if it costs more. On the other side is change. Global supply chains. Automation. Efficiency over nostalgia. Both sides claim they are protecting the future. But they are pointing in opposite directions. Can companies stay competitive while keeping production at home? Can automation save farming without hollowing out jobs? And if machines do the work, does it matter where those machines are built? This moment may define more than Deere. It may shape how the US thinks about work, technology, and global trade for years to come. So now the question goes to you. Do you think companies like John Deere should be required to build in the US, even if it costs more? Do you see automation as a threat to jobs, or the only way farming survives? Leave your thoughts in the comments.